All right, today we're going to talk about the 2020 Singles Day sale, and this isn't just any sale, it's this wild story of strategy, insane amounts of data, and a retail paradox that honestly should have been impossible.
So, for years, all the experts were saying the same thing. China's huge Singles Day shopping festival, it was hitting a wall. The market was totally saturated, shoppers were getting burned out. But then in 2020, something happened that nobody saw coming.
And when I say something happened, I mean it exploded. We're not talking about a little bit of growth. Alibaba's Tmall platform saw a 39% jump in sales on the main day. 39%. It just completely smashed every record. So the big question is, how on earth did they pull that off? Let's dive in.
Okay, so first things first. To really get this, we have to understand why everyone thought the party was basically over. And the crazy thing is, the problem wasn't the platform. It wasn't even the products. It all started with the shoppers.
I mean, check this out. Chinese media was literally calling the sale a headache-inducing puzzle. Imagine trying to figure out this web of coupons, discounts, and special promotions. It had gotten so complicated that for a lot of people, trying to find a deal was just exhausting. The fun was gone.
And this is where things get kind of wild. People were coming up with these hacks just to make the sales work for them. It wasn't about finding a good deal anymore. It was about beating the system. Like, you'd add some cheap filler item to your cart that you didn't even want, just to hit a discount threshold, and then you'd just return it later. I mean, shopping had basically turned into homework.
And you can see this burnout in the numbers. A survey right before the 2020 sale found that almost half of all shoppers, we're talking 46.1%, were planning to spend the same or even less than they did the year before. The magic was definitely wearing off.
And if you look behind the curtain, the numbers for Alibaba itself told an even scarier story. The market was just full. The cost to get a single new customer had skyrocketed. We're talking over 500% in just 2 years. It went from about 200 yuan to over 1,100 yuan. It was getting way too expensive because, well, there just weren't that many new customers left to find.
Okay, so let's put this together. You've got customers who are tired of the whole thing, and it's super expensive to find new ones. A huge jump in sales, it just shouldn't be possible, right? So where did that 39% growth come from? Well, the answer wasn't out there, it was inside.
So, faced with this massive wall, Alibaba made a really smart pivot. They realized the solution wasn't to keep searching for new customers. Instead, they looked inward at this huge army of people they already had, a resource that was just sitting there, untapped.
And what a resource it was. 300 million. That's the number of new shoppers they got to join the 2020 sale. That's on top of the old ones. The total number of participants jumped from 500 million people to an absolutely staggering 800 million.
And this, right here, was the masterstroke. Instead of burning cash trying to find brand new users, they shifted their strategy. They decided to activate the hundreds of millions of people who were already using their other apps like Alipay, but who never bothered with the crazy, high-pressure one-day sale. These were their dormant shoppers.
So how'd they do it? It was actually pretty simple but brilliant. They changed the sale from one chaotic 24-hour frenzy into an 11-day festival, just like that. It instantly made it more accessible, way less intimidating, and it finally gave those millions of untapped users a reason to check it out.
But here's the thing. This pivot wasn't just a good idea. The way they executed it was so precise, so perfect, that it actually started to make people suspicious. And that's where some pretty wild theories come in.
Yeah, people started asking, were the sales numbers faked? The final results were just too perfect. They lined up with the statistical model so cleanly that a lot of people online started screaming that the numbers had to be fake, that they were just engineered to hit a target.
And this conspiracy theory really took off because of something that happened the year before. A blogger had plotted all the past years of sales data on a graph, and it made this near-perfect curve. And using that curve, they publicly predicted the 2019 sales total months in advance, and they were almost spot on. So when that happened, it just poured fuel on the fire.
But the truth is actually way more impressive than fraud. It's something called predictive execution. See, Alibaba's data operation is so ridiculously advanced that they can basically set a goal and then use all their historical data to engineer the exact mix of promotions and strategies they need to hit that goal. So they're not faking the result, they're building the result.
So, just as Alibaba seems to have perfected this incredible
data-driven machine, a new challenger shows up. And this new player is threatening to change the entire game.
Think about how we usually shop online, right? It's kind of a solo mission. You know what you want, you search for it, you look at prices, you click buy. It's a transaction, plain and simple.
But this new model, it's totally different. It's not built around transactions at all. It's built around entertainment, community, and just hanging out.
So in 2020, ByteDance, the company that owns TikTok, jumps into Singles Day for the first time. And yeah, their total sales were tiny compared to Alibaba's. But get this, what they accomplished in their very first year took Alibaba 4 years to build. That's not just growth, that's explosive.
How did they do it? Through something called live commerce. It basically turned shopping from a task into a shared event. It's like watching your favorite YouTuber or streamer, but you can buy the stuff they're talking about right there. People show up for the show, for the personality, and they buy things to feel like they're part of that community.
So there you have it. From a market that seemed completely maxed out to this incredible data-engineered comeback. That's how Alibaba solved its paradox. But this rise of live commerce leaves us with a really interesting question for the future, right? As shopping becomes more about entertainment and social connection, maybe it's becoming less about what you buy and more about who you're buying it with. Something to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.